hip-hop world, and tonight they're making their TV debut with us, performing the song Sandwiches with a little help from the roots. Please welcome Tyler, the Creator, and Haji Beat from Odd Future! 19-year-old Tyler made his television debut alongside Haji Beats just days after Yonkers dropped on YouTube, battering an audience of baby boomers with a marginally noisy performance they'd never forget. At the time, Odd Future was still obscure enough that booking them on a major network like NBC was considered a highly risky move. If you knew anything about Tyler, the last place you'd expect to see him was on stage next to Jimmy Fallon, of all people. I saw Odd Future on the schedule, and my first thought was that there must have been some other Brooklyn rock band with the same name. There's no way it was that Odd Future, said the Roots frontman Questlove. I knew this was either going to be a paradigm shift or the end of the Fallon show. But those unpredictable, dangerous circumstances are what led to such a memorable performance. See, this was more than just the typical late-night appearance. This was Tyler cementing his spot in the musical space and pointing a mainstream spotlight onto the previously overlooked corners of internet culture. A signal to young artists all over the world that generating enough online popularity was all you needed in order to craft a legacy for yourself. At this point, Tyler had not only given himself enough leverage to land a set on late-night TV, but record a feature with rap legend Pusha T, and even sign a record deal with XL Recordings, leading to the contentious release of Goblin. Goblin somehow managed to be even more problematic than its predecessor.
Satan's getting jealous of the wolf, demons that ain't following them.
Equipped with another myriad of questionable ethics and unmitigated vulgarity, some of the major keynotes of Goblin include, but are not limited to,
Satan, horrible sex, murder, decapitation, rape, racism, Asian water torture, homophobia, lesbians, raping pregnant women, threesomes with an unborn child, amputation, breaking an entrance, Parkinson's disorder, Nazis, the ESSA, and a lot of stuff.
I mean, truly, some of Tyler's crudest and most jaw-dropping material to date, interspersed with him venting to a shrink about his darkest thoughts and feelings.
I'm not a fucking role model. I'm a 19-year-old fucking emotional coaster with pine trees.
See, this wasn't all just hollow shock value. The title track was Tyler grappling with his recent rise to stardom, touching on the sudden intense pressure he now feels as a major public figure during the album's 6-minute introduction.
Getting these rich stares at skate parks and airports all in a year was weird.
It's clear he doesn't consider himself anyone to be looked up to. He barely considers himself a real rapper. Despite being grateful for it, the unexpected success of Yonkers was still a jarring enough concept for any artist as young and inexperienced as Tyler was. And this album just encapsulated those feelings of trepidation while containing a lot of the same edginess as Bastard, with tracks like Radicals repeating the rebellious mantra, It was absolutely anarchist in its presentation. Tron Cat being maybe the most deplorable shit I've heard to this day. Hard to believe this is the same guy who made the Grinch soundtrack not even 10 years later. For a casual listener of Tyler, the Creator, lyrics like these may seem wildly out of character. And although many of these themes are still weird and difficult to listen to today, the majority of it was just fucking fiction, in the words of the man who wrote it. And I'd say that's at least something to keep in mind when considering decade-old narratives.
Hey, don't do anything that I say in this song, okay? It's fucking fiction. Happens don't fucking look at me. White America. Fuck Bill O'Reilly.
His liberal use of homophobic slurs is what especially infuriated audiences. And quite understandably became the most polarizing aspect of his character going into his late teens. Now, after years of hearing him rap about kissing white boys, freestyling about having gay sex, dedicating an entire album to a male love interest, the homophobic hate speech laid out on Goblin starts to feel more like a closeted teen afraid of coming to terms with a key part of his identity, opening up about his suppressed sexuality as the years went on. Without dismissing the harmful effects of vile rhetoric, I think it's important to acknowledge the intent behind Tyler's words and realize that these lyrics in particular were more than likely coming from feelings of insecurity and self-rejection rather than a place of outright hatred. Tyler's first three projects all circulate around the fictional character Wolf Haley, Tyler's alter ego who embodies the darkest and most extreme corners of his psyche. When Tyler raps on Goblin, it's actually from the perspective of a wolf. Kinda edgy, but this was just a 19-year-old way of expressing himself without being too serious, which really starts to paint a more three-dimensional picture of the young entertainer, too commonly written off as nothing more than a horrorcore shock artist. The track Window depicts an intervention called on by members of On Future, where each individual takes turns providing a window into their mental state as they seek to help Tyler with his, which of course just ends with him canonically murdering all of his friends and calling them. Maybe we're starting to see why Tyler, or Wolf, is in therapy to begin with. Finally, we end on the track Golden, where he provides yet another authentic look into his newfound fame, working alongside childhood friends and coping with the absence of his best friend, Earl.
You can say it free Earl without even knowing him. They're missing him out. I'm missing my only friend.
The track concludes with Dr. TC confirming that the characters Ace, Wolf Haley, and Troncat were nothing more than various embodiments of Tyler's subconscious. Dr. TC was his voice of reason, for example, whereas Troncat was the one telling him to go out and kill people. It all fits within the narrative that would later be continued on his third album, Wolf. But as Goblin debuted at number 5 on the Billboard Top 200s, his mainstream appeal had never been stronger, receiving wide critical acclaim on the album he later called horrible. But I don't know, it still got some merit in my eyes. 10 years later, and I still have yet to hear a better song name than Bitch Suck Dick.
This album changed, like, my whole everything. Like, I remember, like, the first time I heard, like, the song Goblin off of this. I remember, like, I heard it, and I just kind of, like, sat there for a moment. I was like, you know, just, like, I just, you know, I want to marry you.
By the time the second Odd Future tape dropped in 2012, Earl had returned from Samoan boarding school, Frank was paving the way for a new era of soul music, and Tyler had just won Best New Artist at the 2011 VMAs.
The best new artist goes to
Tyler, the creator!
Odd Future had become its own record label, and began to expand their reach beyond music, with Tyler releasing his own fashion-line Golf Wang, and blasting the antics of his friends across television wavelengths, with their own sketch comedy show, Loiter School.
I love Charles, and when I pass, I'ma see him at the gate, and I'ma have a little something for him if you don't have my back. So, thank you, Charles.
Airing from 2012 to 2014, the 15-minute Adult Swim program gave each member of Odd Future a chance to show off their acting chops, starring alongside the likes of Johnny Knoxville, Seth Rogen, and Lil Wayne for some reason.
Enjoying this more.
No, don't enjoy it!
No, please.
Stop enjoying it!
Wait. Here, I'll stop resisting.
Are you still enjoying it?
Start me up.
Are you still enjoying it?
Yes.
Stop enjoying it! I'm kind of enjoying it too.
Essentially, this was just a big production studio telling Tyler, yeah, do whatever you want, just make us money. The booming success of Loiter Squad further defined the talents of Odd Future, and proved Tyler to be more than just a one-trick pony. Apart from making pretty good music, he was also extremely likable.
Hi, Tyler. Are you fighting the urge to make out with me right now?
Not really. I'm really into it, though.
Fans were no longer just drawn to his provocative verses, they were also entranced by his sense of humor and natural charisma. Tens of thousands were flocking to the group's music festival Camp Flognum, an anagram for Wolfgang. Featuring guest appearances from the most popular artists of the day, the annual festival is still hosted today in front of the Dodgers Stadium and was effective in making Tyler out to be the visionary he was. Clearly more complex than the angry, depraved persona he liked to play up, Tyler the Creator soon became amongst the biggest anomalies in modern-day rap. Things were moving rapidly for the 20-year-old, forcing Tyler to mature faster than ever before, which only meant his music was about to mature with him. Tyler continued the trend of releasing a new project every 2 years with his 2013 Wolf in April of that year, erupting his previous tendency of gritty, unnerving production with a clean and surprisingly elegant jazz composition complemented by dainty chimes before hearing a raspy fuck. The lyrics seem to depict Tyler speaking once again from the perspective of his alter egos, with the album's main antagonist Sam expressing a disdain for Wolf Haley. Involved in a love triangle with a girl named Salem, it's established that these characters are actually 3 students attending the fictional Camp Flog Dog.
Those are 4. So, look, Wolf, wherever you are, whatever the fuck your name is, don't fuck with you and anybody else here, right?
The lore of Tyler's albums, specifically on these 3, is pretty convoluted, I'm not gonna lie to you. But it makes me wonder how anyone can stand to write him off as just another rapper without acknowledging his storytelling. Being tapped to write and direct a few of his own Mountain Dew commercials that year, no, not without a fair bout of controversy, of course.
Who exactly is Felicia the Goat? I think this commercial is a commercial with Mountain Dew, and that was the main character. I just read it. So this is a commercial I did. I was like, alright, so it's a fucking goat, right? It's the he gonna drink the fucking Mountain Dew, and he gonna yell at the lady, and then the cops will pull him over, and then he gonna be in jail, and then he gonna do basically.
The now banned commercials were met with boisterous claims of racism and misogyny by their critics, which in turn only fueled the flame for Tyler's burning creative desires.
So what was racist
Yeah, what
about
was
it?
racist about it?
First commercial, Goat has Mountain Dew and he likes it so much he goes crazy. He pushes the lady on the ground. The second commercial was the lady at the police station looking at a lineup of people saying that was the Goat that pushed me to the rest of them. Now, in the lineup, I used a bunch of my friends. They happen to be African. One of these guys were all playing a part with the Rockland song and said this is the most racist commercial ever. People started putting up the story saying this is the most racist commercial ever. It got big. Now you guys are seeing this like, whoa, you don't want to have this hit on us. Hey, we're sorry that we put this commercial out, blah blah blah, all the time. I was like, what the fuck did you see? The one that got banned?
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was the best thing that had happened in like the past year. It was the best thing. You know what should be banned? Stuff that's whack.
Much like his idols, Tyler the Creator is not one to be placed in a box. And although he may have been dropped by Mountain Dew as a result of the hit pieces, he continued to stand by his own art and wasn't about to repress his vision for anything.
I'm 21 years old, like excited that I can fucking worry about how the orange is in contrast with the green in this commercial at the coloring session. And now this turned into a big negative debate. Like, it fucked my spirit up so much.
Wolf was the first real turning point in Tyler's discography. Throwing the references of rape and serial killing out the window, Wolf embodied Tyler's growing maturity both narratively and on a musical level. For example, this was his first project to be recorded and mixed in an actual studio instead of his laptop, leading to an overall more polished and lush appearance. Frankly, Tyler was sick of the violent themes he previously exhibited on Goblin, even straight up denouncing parts of him in later interviews. He was in a completely new stage of his life. He was hanging out with his childhood idols and making tons of money, working day and night to create all kinds of new content for his fans. Being the huge music nerd he is, he finally let the edgy shtick take a back seat and focus more on the actual sound of his work.
Basically, this whole album is just me emulating hear fucking Tree Home 95. Like, I know some people hated that shit on Jimmy Fallon, but I listen to Stevie Wonder and Isaac Hayes. Like, that's all I listen to. So when you see me on the piano playing fucking chords and shit, like, I'm just trying to emulate what I grew up listening to. And fucking having the Roots, watching the Roots play my bass lines and my fucking bells and shit was the tightest shit in the fucking world.
Drifting